Hello, everyone. I am Alan. On November 5th, I finally completed my Hamilton full marathon race. My final time was 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 26 seconds. I had a bit of a small regret, as I didn't achieve my training goal of completing the race under 2 hours and 55 minutes. On the day of the race, my friend Bro, Yang from our running group offered me a carpool, so I didn't have to drive there myself. Early in the morning, we first checked our bags, took some photos, and went to washroom. Because my back pain from Thursday didn't subside, I took two painkillers. Afterward, I ran a 2 kilometer warm up, gradually increasing the pace and doing a few short sprints to get my body into the best racing condition. The race started a few minutes late. Initially, there was a relatively steep downhill, so my first kilometer was a bit fast, with a pace of 3 minutes and 58 seconds. I realized I might be running too fast, so I tried to slow down my pace. For the next 10 kilometers, up to the halfway point, my pace was mostly around 4 minutes and 3 seconds. The main reason for this was that there was a friend in the running group who was the 1:25 half marathon pacer, and he was running ahead of me, so I just followed him, which made it relatively easy for me. I had actually trained for a 2:53 finish, and I didn't find it challenging to keep up with him today, so my official time for the first half was approximately 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 55 seconds. My speed didn't drop after the halfway point. Even up to the 28th and 29th kilometers, I didn't feel very tired or uncomfortable. I may not have realized it, but my body was already showing signs of exhaustion. At the time, I thought I could afford to run slower, so I intentionally lowered my pace. However, at 35 kilometers, I started feeling very uncomfortable on the left side of my heart. I reduced my speed and even walked for a bit. After walking for a while and feeling somewhat better, I ran another 2 kilometers, but during this stretch, my pace couldn't pick up. At the 38-kilometer mark, I felt uncomfortable again and stopped to walk once more. After a short walk, I ran another 2 kilometers. Finally, at the 40-kilometer mark, I felt like there was still hope to push a bit, but my body was completely out of sorts. After picking up the pace, my heart felt uncomfortable. I noticed that my discomfort started when my heart rate exceeded 167, 168, so I lowered my pace, trying to keep my heart rate below 160. After the race, I looked at my heart rate throughout the entire race. You can see that from the beginning, my average heart rate was around 162 up to the halfway point. But at the 22-kilometer mark, my heart rate started to rise, staying around 166. It continued to increase until it reached 169 to 170 at 34 or 35 kilometers. Perhaps during this extended period of high heart rate, my heart discomfort became pronounced, forcing me to lower my pace. This pattern repeated several times. Whenever I sped up, my heart rate increased, causing discomfort, and I had to slow down. This was the first time I experienced such a situation. Situations I've encountered before, including very sore muscles, no strength in my legs, and struggling to breathe, but I have never had heart problems, so I was very worried at that time. I even thought about giving up this race. You can see in the pace and heart rate chart that I stopped 3 times. The final dip in pace was in the last few hundred meters before the finish line, where there was a short but very steep slope. I was too exhausted and had to walk up the hill. That's how I barely managed to complete the race with a final race time of 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 26 seconds. It wasn't until after 37 kilometers that I started feeling the soreness in my legs, a sensation that felt like I might cramp. So I put 2 cramp pills under my tongue, and I didn't experience cramping issues afterward. This was the first time in all of my full marathon races that I didn't experience cramps. I should mention that I primarily relied on water station from our running group for hydration throughout the race. The whole race situation is like this. As for why this condition appeared at the 35-kilometer mark, my personal analysis is as follows. First, the first half of the race was too fast. Although I didn't feel it, my body couldn't handle it. Second, during the training period, I had to stop twice due to injuries, for a total of 3 weeks. Long distance training was clearly insufficient, with only one session exceeding 35 kilometers. Third, I'm getting older, and I can't sustain a heart rate of 170 for 10 kilometers and more. Fourth, painkillers may have had a negative impact. I personally lean towards the third and fourth scenarios, especially the fourth one, because I compared my recent long distance speed training. After running approximately 21 kilometers at a pace of about 403 to 405, I ran nearly 10 kilometers at the same pace, and during that time, my heart rate decreased. A decrease in heart rate in the second half of the race is more common in my previous training and races. In any case, I will do some targeted training to strengthen my speed training after 30 kilometers. I hope to achieve a new personal best at the Toronto Marathon next spring. This race corresponds to two events. I participated in the Abbott WMM Virtual Global Marathon, Fall 2023, and I finished ninth in my age group, earning an invitation to next year's age group championship. That's all for today's video. Please subscribe, like, and leave your comment.